career workers are what is their point of view? Because people are really thinking about AI is changing how the games community works, but I don't think that things really created the arts what the players really need. So that makes some kind of stories that doesn't work anymore. So I would like to know how these people's thinking about AI.
Okay. Yeah. Good question. Good question. Thank you.
Well,
So,
yeah,
hot
Justin, you
topic,
know gaming a lot
Emily.
better than I do.
AI.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
everyone's a true
okay,
gamer
here's
at
my
heart.
favorite answer and the least. Yes, here's my the most accurate answer to any of this that is also the least popular. You're going to hate it is it depends. So how does this company, this studio, this person, this team, like how do they feel about AI in this context or this regard? I really couldn't tell you. And again, I'm not an expert on gaming. I did hire for a moment for gaming at Netflix and then also at Amazon. So those were, but I'm not an expert in this space. I can say broadly for tech, how each person or even company is thinking or feeling or investing in AI is really different, even among the big like Bang, Mang, brand name companies. They're making different investments in different areas and hiring different kinds of talent. So I don't know, Justin, I'm curious what you think, being more embedded within gaming, if there's any kind of specific insight you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a hot topic, right? I feel like we're in cycles right now. You know, back in, I'm showing my age here, but when we had the dot-com boom, everyone was really hyped about dot-com, and everyone was spending money on the dot-com boom, and then of course apocalypse came, and then only certain survivors survived, like Amazon.
The first
Their stock went down to
apocalypse.
$5. But I feel like that's what we're feeling right now. The past 4 years, 3 to 4 years, the investment hype has just really gone down, and you see a lot of companies that just want to invest in mainstream IPs, right? That's why you see movies that are being rebooted, that they just feel comfortable just only doing mainstream, even gaming titles, another Mario title, and they really don't want to venture anything too far out because it's a really scary landscape right now. So going back to the history, right, Emily, is I feel like that is the buzzword right now, AI, and every company is trying to integrate that, and we're learning. It's a learning curve. We're trying to navigate what works and what's not going to work. My favorite story is Duolingo. I was telling the mods this. I remember Duolingo 1 year ago was saying, we're going to fire everyone.
Yes,
The
I remember
CEO
that.
was just so bold about it. He was like, we're going to fire everyone, and we're just AI. And what happened maybe 3 months ago, you started seeing all these Duolingo hires, right? They rehired their COO, they rehired their talent acquisition manager, they rehired their engineering leader. So it was just like a big, the CEO fell on his face, and it didn't work, right? So I do see, like, we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see a lot of failures. We're going to see a lot of mismanagement of money. But I do feel like the correction is there. Amir has said that so many times, and through his stats, is he has seen a correction. He just doesn't know when the correction is going to happen. We're slowly
or how
seeing it.
much. Because no bones about it. There's some stuff that's getting automated that's not going to unautomate. Are there lawsuits already about how AI is doing things wrong or bad? It turns out maybe we shouldn't have it make judgment calls for like medical stuff. But I think that the job market is going to be disrupted and changed for the future forever at this point. I don't think we can put the genie back in the bottle. But I also don't know if we're headed exactly to Terminator. status in the
Skynet.
future. Yeah. So with that being said, I think that those of us, and when I think, how did I make it? How did I keep getting hired? What made me resilient? Well, the couple things, and I'd love to share those with you all today. Anything practical, I'll get into that too. But when I look at, wow, I really went through a couple interesting times in the job market, and I see the chat is great. So
I'm trying
I'm
to
loving
keep
that.
up.
I'm
I
gonna get
am
into
doing
it.
my best.
Uh, but okay, so as far as resilience goes, and you're like, how did you do that? Well, one is just accepting this is how it is right now. How can I make the best of it? And I realize that's very simple, and you're all smart people. But looking around and going, you know what? I used to be able to apply to 5 jobs a day, and that was enough. And I'm used to all my manual things or my favorite job boards, or even I haven't touched, my resume used to work, or I didn't used to have to post on LinkedIn. I know. I know, but having a varied approach and being willing to try new things and really put yourself out there. This is all very Sesame Street. Not that I was allowed to watch that in the cult, but from what I hear, I would just say the people who are really landing things right now have been persistent and kind of insistent, maintained good cheer, and then are willing to use a variety of approaches. So I even see in the chat, it's like, what's happening to my application? Well, I would also recommend not just applying. If you want to see success, you're going to have a multi-pronged approach. Because when I'm searching for a job or I need to get hired, I think like a recruiter. So this is the other thing other than having a good attitude and trying new things, it's also you can apply how recruiters find talent and bring it in to get hired. So what does that mean? Well, if I have a job that's open that I need to hire for, I'm going to do some research on the industry. I am going to do some research on. I'm going to talk to other peers in the industry who have filled this kind of role. What did they do? When was the last time you reached out was to someone just to network and be like, you're doing something I'd really like to be doing or used to be doing, but got laid off from doing. I want to be doing that again. I'm not here to ask you for a job. I'm just curious how you've been navigating this landscape. So as recruiters, we're networking. We're not just posting a job on LinkedIn. We're also going to different communities and posting it in some niche places. And I'm out there outbound sourcing for talent. And you could be out there, woof, there's the finger. I'm the oldest of 10 kids. So you've been warned, Bossy's sister comes in sometimes. But like, we have amazing, unprecedented tools at our disposal too. So as a recruiter, I can be using tools to go out and find candidates and say, hey, I have a cool job for you. Please interview with me. But as a candidate, I think we're sleeping on the opportunity that you can grab a shovel. You could pay $200 a month for something like Apollo and use with your discretion, but there's nothing stopping you from doing what recruiters do and looking for contact information for founders and trying to pitch yourself as a contract or full-time employee. And I've had friends find success in this market. I'm not saying don't apply, but I am saying diversify your strategy, and you're probably going to have to get scrappier than you have had to in the past. Okay, see, we have a friend here on the stage. So, Artem,
Yes.
if you
Hi,
want to.
Artem, if you have a question. 10 kids, by the way.
Hey
First of all,
guys,
10 kids? That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
you actually covered part of my question currently. So what I wanted to ask is, from your recruitment standpoint, how do you maybe see, or like what kind of info and feedback you get from your colleagues about how many applicants you have now, like compared to the previous times where there were not as much layoffs? Because like, just to give you a bit more perspective of what difficulty I'm facing right now. I'm looking for a job for 4 months already. And so far, I've messaged in private messages on LinkedIn around 2,000 people. I've applied to like 400 companies so far. And I'm a producer with like 10 years of experience working on titles like Sniper, Ghost Warrior, Lords of the Fallen, World of Tanks. And nothing works so far. I mean, like, if anybody else is also on the market right now, can you maybe guys in the chat put like how much more, like 5x, 10x, or like 20x of application made compared to like the previous times when it wasn't this kind of difficult on the market?
Yeah. Well, okay. So if
That's
you
tough.
want
Yeah.
real-time feedback, one is you're not alone. And even in the chat here, it's like, yes, me too, +1, sub. I'm like, I feel your pain. I can say yes on the hiring side. I was at Reddit for 3 years, and so I saw even until I was laid off in August of last year how the volume of applications changed in the last 6 months that I was there. And as I mentioned earlier, if you were here, it's high noise, low signal. So someone like Artem, who might be super qualified, we may not even see that application because we got so much volume of
From the
applications. Some companies are even just going to outbound looking for candidates instead of going through the application. I'm not saying that's everybody everywhere, but what I'd be curious to know is, it's just like, you know how in like the Wolf of Wall Street or in sales, there's a funnel. So for you, Artem, and any other friends here where you're like, okay, I'm starting here where I'm going to do all the things to try to get into the recruiter interview and then the hiring manager interview and then get an offer. I'm curious with the top of funnel, it's like where things are getting stuck. So it sounds like you are sending messages on LinkedIn and applying online. Those are good things. But it sounds like you're like, we're not moving through the funnel. So I'd want to look at a few things like, I wonder what your messages look like.
Yeah.
Maybe they aren't super engaging. I don't know. I'm not here to pick on your messages, but I'd be looking at how can I improve my response rate? This is what recruiters do as well. Wow, no one's writing me back. Do I need to tweak this? Do I need to tweak who I'm messaging? Do I need to tweak the length of my message? Do I need to start following up instead of messaging one time? And then maybe adding some variety in the top of funnel. Like personally, I get a ton of LinkedIn messages from people that I don't know and can't help. I'm busy like trying to help my friends in my outside of work hours. And so I would say, how would you add to the top of funnel not only messaging, but posting on places like LinkedIn has been very effective for me. A lot of people don't want to put themselves out there and don't want to look desperate, but there's a way to also signal, hey, I'm available and I'm looking, but also add some value and kind of maintain. The word dignity comes to mind, but you don't have to crash out on LinkedIn. Posting there consistently about your background, your experience, even what you're learning currently, along with a quick note of, hey, and if you're hiring, is working for people. I know several people who have gotten hired this way, and I myself, just even when I'm not actively looking, if I post stuff on LinkedIn, people are like, hey, by the way, I just got a message that was like, oh, Emily, I remember you from Amazon. By the way, my company's hiring a recruiter. And I was like, oh, okay,
I
that's not
just
what
saw
this was about.
one.
So
A girl posted today that she made a TikTok video, which is kind of the trend
mm,
right now. When people are getting laid off, they're recording their layoff messages. I should have done
mm,
that when I was at
mm.
Blizzard, because
Just me
it is
sobbing.
very
That's great.
well.
Uh,
It's if you guys never been in a layoff call, it's so cold, right? So HR randomly says, "Hey, you have a meeting." Or actually, it starts off with your manager. So your manager says, "Hey, you have a meeting." So you think it's a meeting with your manager, but as soon as you get on the call, the manager says, "I'm going to bring HR in." That's like, uh-oh. That's when you
or
know
they're
it's like,
already there. That's what
or
happened
they're
to
already
me.
there. It's like,
I got on
"Hi."
my one-on-one and I thought I was getting promoted in August.
Oh my goodness. So you see
Surprise!
HR, and then they put you on. Well, for us at Blizzard, they put everyone on mute. We couldn't speak. We couldn't like ask questions or anything like that. And it was just very
Oh,
monotone. It was just like, this is what's going to happen. You're not going to have access anymore. As soon as after this call, you're going to be bricked out of all your credentials.
they treat you like
So
you're a criminal.
yeah, it feels like if it's just very cold, right? But she posted it on TikTok and she got a lot of comments, and then one recruiter said, "Hey, let me see what I can do." And that's how she was able to get her offer, was posting on TikTok. So like you said, Emily, I feel like that you have to do everything. So I feel like there's two stages, right? One, if you're in the lucky stage. If you're in the lucky stage, like most AAA companies will do, like Riot, there's 6 months of severance. And
Oh,
that is
okay.
very lucrative compared to everyone out there, right? Most people can be, if you get 1 month, that's lucky. But the
Mhm.
standard is 3 months, right? So if you're in that stage, I call it the lucky stage, you have time to actually pick and be picky. And like
Plus,
my
if you got
friend,
laid off by a company that has money like that, you
mhm,
also have the halo effect of their brand, so it'll be
yes.
easier for you to find something. Sorry, I cut you off
Mhm.
though. Keep
No,
going.
no. Cut me off, Emily, of course. um, no, it's so the lucky stage is when you have that buffer and you can be selective, right? And you have time to actually pick and choose the right ones, and you are very selective. The normal or unlucky stage is like when you're battling against time and you're running out of funds and you got money out of your 401k. That's when I would say put in put in all the work, put in as many applications as you can, because for me, I believe in the higher the odds, the better. you know so when you're in that stage where your money is running out, you're going to have to put in more applications out there, because like you said, Emily, it is very hard to get through all the applications. Most hires are done within the first 300 applications, because at that time, right, Emily, you picked out maybe 5 or 7 good ones out of the 300, and you
If I get
started the
300 and I
eight.
got 20 good ones, like I'm hiring for 2 sales roles right now, high volume. It's like earlier career. Anyway, so all that being said, I inherited these from a recruiter who had these roles attached to him for 1 week. And one of the roles had 2,000 applications on it that hadn't even
Mhm.
been seen. But we already had enough people in the interviews that
Yeah.
so yeah, I would definitely say speed is your friend, applying sooner than later. You'll see this advice on Reddit. Sorry, I'm a little salty, but no, Reddit's still a great place to go. And r/job search hacks. People will review your resume. Obviously, use all of this with discretion, but r/resume is another good subreddit. Resume reviews. Anyway, there are some good pointers and insights, and a common thing I'll see there is applying first, because to your point, yep, if we already have a hire within the first 300 applications, that's why I'm also saying, hey, friends, yes, you may want to pick up the volume of applications, but also if you're getting no ROI, that's data too. That's information.
That's data.
I apply
That's
and
so
I got
key.
nothing back. So
That's so
yeah,
key, yeah. So
it's like
always
this
look at your
literally
data
isn't
too.
working. Do you want to double down? Yes, that's where I go back
Yeah.
to the sales funnel. And it's like, I'm not getting down to the bottom of where I'm staying up here. So
Even me as a recruiter, and even you, right, Emily, I'm sure I've asked so many sources. Like I keep revamping my resume. So I would ask other recruiters, I would ask friends, I would ask AI. Um, we, that's another hot topic. Yes, we can definitely tell what resumes are written in AI, and because there's a lot of
I want to
hallucinations.
talk about it.
So
I
we'll
will
get
keep
to
us
that in
here
a
all night,
second.
but yes.
But ask around. It is okay to ask AI, like, hey, what suggestions can you do? You can ask it, you can ask her for feedback. You don't have to copy and paste, right? Which is what most people are getting yelled at, right? Because now recruiters are catching on. Now recruiters are actually doing anti AI.
We're using
So
AI to screen the AI generated
the screen the
resumes.
AI,
So it
right?
really is meeting of the bots.
It is crazy. That's a hot topic right now, because people are saying, well, you're using AI to screen our resumes. Why can't we use AI to make our resumes? That's a good point. It's very valid. But what we're seeing is there's a lot of inconsistency, and and AI is lying for you. Like I
Mhm.
seen a software engineer somehow put in this new technology that wasn't even invented yet. It's like being invented. It's like in progress in R&D stage, but somehow AI thought it would be cool to put that on there. Like, yeah, I know new technology and I'm working on it. And it's like, no, that technology has not been released yet. It even says on the website it's
Mhm.
not released yet. So we catch people all the time, and that's why it hallucinates.
It also
Real
skews
quick, I know
optimistic. ChatGPT will tell you, yes, I am built like they're built. They're trying to avoid
yeah,
liability as a
it
company,
gaslights
and
you.
so yeah, so it's good to it'll keep you on for longer, just like Facebook. So you're like, oh, I'm feeling good as I'm talking. That this is a business strategy to limit liability and to keep you on ChatGPT, among others, for longer. Is it does skew very positive, optimistic, and even exaggerates. So another point of why you want to be careful with using ChatGPT or any AI tooling to generate or retouch your resume is that it's do we cuss here? It's full of shit. So
Yeah.
just
Do
watch
we
out for
cut?
like, is this
Yes.
even real? Like I had ChatGPT redo my resume. I was like, why not? I'll spin the wheel. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what this means. Because you know when you read AI jargon bullshit buzzwords and it's like, I was a corporate guardian for all things enterprise. And you're like, what? Hello? That's what did you do though? What was your job? So, anyways,
So I
yeah.
do want. I know we're getting a lot of questions here. I know Emily, you're very popular. You know, they want to see you, not me. But there is a chat question, and I did use AI, everyone, to rank your questions, and then I'm going to rank them again. So first question here
Wow.
is from Tyler Boyce. Tyler writes, I am an entry-level game designer in freelance contracts under NDA, so I cannot talk about the only experience I have. How should I handle that on a resume and interview? I love that question.
Yes, let's go. Because this one's hard. There is no really good, like, I know exactly what to do, Tyler, and do not pay any money to anybody who says, I can fix this for you because they can't. I feel very strongly, and like the reason why I do stuff like this in my off time is because thank you, autism, I have a very outsized sense of justice. And I see people get scammed all the time by false promises. So people are preying on folks in the job market who are vulnerable right now. And so I'm here to say, please be really careful because there will be people along your journey who are like, oh, you need help, you need a job. I can fix this. Actually, Tyler, like, I can't fix this for you because I can't make the market really want to hire an entry level freelance project or doing some work under an NDA talent. I can't
Yeah, so how do
change,
you
but I
handle that?
can. But then it's like, okay, if this were me, there are a couple things. One, and this is just hot takes with my family calls me Mimi, so this is hot takes with Mimi. Mimi would say, you know how Beyonce has like her alter ego, Sasha Fierce. Anyway, that's Mimi is like the spicier version of me. Mimi would say, look, I have heard so many times from hiring managers that, oh, freelance, they're not working, this is volunteer. So Mimi would want to tell you, I would reword freelance anywhere on your resume to say something else. Contract is fine, in my opinion, and good. Freelance gets flagged as not actually a job. So I would recommend number one, rewording freelance to say contract. Self-employed is also falling into that bullshit bucket of freelance. So
Yeah,
giving some kind of credibility to how you word it. Like someone did want to hire
volunteer,
me. Yes.
volunteer, side project. Um, yeah, freelance. But more specifically, Emily, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here to be your
Mm-hmm.
moderator. I am your
Yes.
personal moderator. So
Yes.
you might have missed the question here.
Yes.
So Tyler is under NDA. So he has
Oh, the
trouble.
NDA piece. Yes.
Yeah, so he has,
The other
see?
piece
See, that's
is
why I'm your
yes.
wingman here, Emily.
Thank
So
you. Yes.
how does he able to show that on his resume and talk about it during interviews if he's under NDA? Because at
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard, I know about games right now that are being made, and I just want to say, oh my God, I know what game they're talking about, but I can't
You're
because I have
so
an
cool,
NDA for life.
Justin. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so do
Uh,
you. So anyone who has worked in double A and triple A know that we can't talk about NDAs. So how do you handle that
Yeah,
in
and
a
if that's your
resume
only
and
or
interview?
most recent experience, yeah, and this does happen. I have 7 years of experience at this point hiring software engineers of all levels, of all backgrounds, and often, not often, but often enough, some of those folks will be subject to an NDA because of something they're currently working on or have recently worked on. And so that's why, again, I feel like, well, there's no way to really get around it. You're not going to violate the confidentiality, but I would say there are also limits to an NDA. Like they can't, and this is where you're going to do your research and maybe even ask AI or a friend who's more legally savvy than me. But there may be, and this is just based on my experience, some high level information you can give just to share context and not because what people are doing in the market, and I get it, they'll say, oh, I can't talk about my experience. It's under an NDA. And that's another way of trying to get through an interview, and hiring managers may be a little wary. Like, we need signals from the interview. We want to know if you're qualified or not. But can you talk high level? Like, instead of just saying, working on a project, NDA on your resume, and if you get in interviews or if it's on your LinkedIn profile, any high level context that you can give. Like, maybe in parentheses you have like subject to NDA, but like at a high level, I'm helping Microsoft drive a program for enterprise customers across the globe. My role is focused on backend software development on a platform team. Huh. Okay, maybe that's resume or LinkedIn profile. And then in an interview, I don't know if we've even gotten to that point, but you may be able to provide some high level context, at least on your resume, so that it gets credibility. And then additionally, yeah, that's going to be tough. If you can't provide any details or really what's the resume? It's evidence of what you've done for who, were you good at it? And so if you can't provide details, I would say you may need to beef it up with, do you have a portfolio to other work or a website? Are you tired just thinking about making another thing? I know I am. But it's like, if I can't actually provide the signals or evidence in my day job that I'm awesome and I'm good at what I do, well, here's a link to some of the other things that I have done or that I can do. Um, 'Cause in tech hiring, we say no data, no decision. So the NDA is really difficult because you can't share much, but you have to give the recruiter and the bots and the hiring managers and anyone who's involved in hiring, you have to have some signals that you are doing the work that we want to hire you to do, and or you've done it recently successfully. So that would be my
Yeah.
advice. Can you
I
provide some other? Yeah. What do you
I
think?
seen in chat, Justin, you had a good definitely I've used it before, unannounced project. I've used that before. So when
Mm,
someone asked me, so I would always say I worked on Team Overwatch and I worked on the unannounced project, which was that unannounced survival game. And yes, I couldn't talk about the graphics engine, but I did say yes, we used a proprietary engine that was similar to Unreal Engine 5. So you can definitely talk around that, and you can also use words like confidential. So
hmm
confidential project one, confidential project two,
That's
confidential
classier.
project
I like what
three.
you're saying. Hmm
hmm
Yeah, as
I've
long as you're not.
also
Yeah.
no, go ahead, Emily.
Well, it's just making sure because hiring managers, I saw this earlier in the chat, like hiring is very risk averse. Sure is. And
hmm
we are, my God, my nervous system is ruined because of the news and everything else that's happening. But what does that have to do with hiring? Great question. So hiring managers are more risk averse than ever. And because I had two scam candidates last week. They got on a Zoom meeting with me and I was doing fraud checks while I'm interviewing them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this person is not real. Why would you care? Well, and what does it have to do with Tyler? It's all connected in my brain. It's that hiring managers are wanting to not waste their time. Everyone's doing more with less. And there's a proliferation of fraud, scam, spam candidates. And people are lying on their resume intentionally or even unintentionally when they're using AI and not double checking. And so we are really going to be looking for as much concrete evidence. And then I did see Tyler had a follow-up question I thought was really good that is related here. And it was, Mimi needs her glasses. Oh, it was essentially, well, does the portfolio count as professional experience? No, but it is an additional validation point
Yeah.
that says, hey, I'm not just talking about doing a confidential project. I'm actually like, and I'm just, depending on your background, you're like, well, I'm not just saying that I'm a web designer. See my website, you know? So that's my thought there. Look at this
We're pulling
kitty.
another person on stage.
Yeah.
Hi,
The thing.
hi, both of you. So I'm also an entry-level technical artist. I had a 4-month contract job in a company, and that was already 4 months ago. So I've been unemployed for 4 months. I'm going to GDC for the next month, so I'm just yeah, it'd be asking like what is the best way to approach to people. I know scheduling a chat with them or going to roundtables, but do you think like getting job interviews on GDC is a good idea, or and what is the best way to approach to people when having the intention to getting a job? Thank you.
I haven't been to
Okay.
GDC, so I'm not an expert there. I can say, so I feel like I could take part A if you want to take part B, Justin.
Sure.
Yeah, so I went to Grace Hopper last year, and I know it's different, but it's like, okay, this is a conference that maybe skews earlier career, and people are hoping to make connections and, yes, maybe get an interview or an opportunity out of the people that they're meeting at the conference. And I'm going to tell you what's worked on me as a recruiter, and then what's also worked on me when I've attended conferences in the past. Well, one, I would say isn't adulting just continuously lowering your expectations? But so one, going into it with like an open mind and knowing that sometimes you're playing the long game. And for me, it's like year one is just year one. I'm going to try to make as many friends as I can. So there's that. You may not come out of it with a job offer this time, but hey, of course, there's no harm in trying. Two, I see somebody in the chat talking about this too. I was going to say, hey, you might also look for any meetups around the conference. So any kind of, and again, I see this in the chat. So I feel like you all are the experts here, but actually go to those. I know, but the going to any kind of in-person networking, meetup, happy hour, whether it's tied to a conference or you just find it on Meetup or whatever, huge ROI. Huge. I went to a networking event here in Seattle. My friend invited me. She was like, "You're depressed. Let's go." So I went and I was like, "I don't belong here." And it's all these like tech leaders in Seattle. And once people have met you in person, they've they've shaked your hand, made that connection, they'll respond to your email after that or, accept your LinkedIn connection request. So I would say if there are any opportunities to do in-person networking around that event, take those. And then also the platinum level is, can you make a meetup? I don't know if it's too late. It's probably not. But guess what? It costs $0 to say, wait, what's the movie? We're going streaking in the quad. Okay, don't do that. Isn't that old school? Anyway, but you could say, hey, we're going, a bunch of us are gonna go meet up for French fries over here at 5. If anyone, you can make your own group. Other people are doing it. Like, I think we wait for a permission slip sometimes, but like people are really wanting community. And if you don't have a community and you're going for the first time, that means there are other people are too. So you could make a group, nothing stopping you. So this goes back to the grab a shovel mentality, copyright, trademark, just kidding. But like, those are people who are getting ahead right now, who are not just, oh, I'm going to go to the conference and I hope there's a community there for me. It's like, I'm going to go to the conference. I didn't find a community yet. But regardless, I'm going to make a happy hour. I'm going to have a free meetup in a park one afternoon. Anyway, and you'll have really big payoff from that once people have met you in person. Anyway, a couple tangential thoughts. Also, make sure to post on LinkedIn that you're going, and don't just do it once, because most people won't see most of your stuff. Like, I'll see sometimes LinkedIn will serve me something that Justin posted 3 weeks ago, and it's like, what the heck? What? So post a few times before you go. Post while you're there, like, hey, so like it's cringy. I don't care. I like money. And so putting yourself out there to be like, hey, day 2, GDC, X, Y, and Z, cool, great. And then post after the event, and you'll start to build community that way as well. So
Yeah.
anyway, Justin, what do you think that's more GDC related? Because I may have gotten off
I
on my sassy
love your
horse.
mind. Your mind just you ever
Yeah.
seen that movie Squirrel? Like you just go from topic to topic, and
It all
I'm like
makes
hard to
sense
keep
in
up.
here, but
Right.
yes, also I get excited like, oh, there's a bigger thing here at play. I think we're often missing like, well, broad strokes, maybe we're missing an opportunity here.
No, I
You
love
don't want
I
to
love it.
be
It
so.
is it keeps you on your toes. Um,
That's a
I
nice way
have
of saying,
three.
wow, you talk fast.
No, no, it's all compliments. Um, I just have three quick suggestions. I just have three quick tips, and I always give these tips whoever is new to GDC, whoever's. I've done events at BlizzCon. I've done events at DreamHack. So I've done all the gaming events, and I would say this. These are your three top tips that I can give. One is don't be afraid to strike up a conversation. And so when people say, I'm an introvert, just I get it. We're all gamers. We're all introverts. Like, trust me. Even me, I'm an introvert. I don't want to go out on the weekends, believe it or not. But you're there for a common theme. And that common theme, whether it's Comic Con, whether it's a gaming con, whether it's any type of convention, you can always say, "Hey, are you here as a fan or are you here on business?" And you can use that line with anything. So normally at GDC, it's like you have a 50-50 crowd there. 50% are fans. They just want to know what's going on with, gaming developers, like what type of tips are doing, or they're not even in the gaming industry, or they never worked in the gaming industry. So that's 50%. The other 50%, they're there because of work. Like Amir Satbat, he's being shoved there through work. His boss told him, "You need to be at GDC," and Amir's like, "Okay, I'll go." So I always like to use that line, like, "Hey, are you here as a fan or are you here on business?" And just shut up, just pause. They will tell you, "Oh yes, I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to meet," or they'll say, "Oh, I'm here on business," and I'm like, "This is a red eye." There you go. There's your conversation, and you can say that to literally anybody. My second advice is when someone says, "Oh, I'm an introvert. I can't drink up the courage. I'm not a drinker. I am a drinker. So that's my liquid courage." But if you don't have liquid courage, they say the Superman rule. So the Superman rule is shoulders back, act like you're wearing a cape, and then replace in your head, instead of saying I am scared, say I am excited. Because scared and excitement is on the same brain wavelength, and you can literally trick your brain by saying I am excited, and it will trick your brain even though you're scared because it's the same wavelength. And then the third tip is most people fail at networking where they go stand at the door, where people come in and funnel in through like a little ballroom area. They stand at the door. They think that's the best networking area. That's not. When people funnel through that door, what are they going to do? They're going to look around. They're going to spot where the bar is, and they're going to go
We're
straight
going
to
to
the
look for
bar.
the hot people. Yeah, in the
Yep.
bar.
They don't want you. You could be the door greeter and say, "Hi, Emily. Hi."
They won't
You
remember
are like,
you.
"I just got here. Give me like 10 minutes to like collect myself. Like, you're scaring me. I'm gonna go this way." So I see most people, especially a lot of the introverts, they stand at the door and they're trying to say, "Hi, hi," and it never works. So what I suggest is go to the bar. Even if you're not a drinker, hang out at the bar.
Seltzer
Because
water.
once
The bar will always give you seltzer
or
water.
water.
And then
Yeah.
no one will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you get your drink, I can relax. And then Emily says, hi, my name's Emily. And then I'll be like, okay, hi, Emily. I can talk to you now because I'm relaxed. You know what I mean?
And then you have something for
Instead-
your hands, because I think that's also something for us fidgety
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
With me. But yes,
Mhm.
have something in your hand.
Mocktails.
The
Mocktails
little
is a
blankie.
good one, Mila. Absolutely.
Yep.
Table with food. That's another good one, Daniel. Yep. You go to the table with food because all that really does is it disarms the person's anxiety. So they get to relax at the bar, at the food. Don't ever do it at the funnel at the door. That's where I see most people mess up because they don't want to talk to you. Once they get in that funnel, they want to go to the food. They want to go to the bar. You know, that's the best place to hang out and then say hi. How are you?
Yep. Also, don't forget to breathe. And that's very like live, laugh, love of me to say. But actually, when we get nervous, and then that comes across in your nervous energy, ask me how I know, because it's me. But just, if you're me, you might even write a little note on your hand so you remember, okay, breathe in and out. So I do think compliments are underrated, but tasteful ones. Just shoes are always safe, like unless okay, I'm just gonna leave that there. But usually like, oh, cool shoes, or I like your jacket. That's a neat color. That opens the door like magic. I don't know why we're all not complimenting each other more. So there's that. Because really it's like, what do you mean networking? How do I do that? Don't worry. That's why I would say like don't
All right.
feel like a job is on the line. I have to get a job from this person. No, it's like, can we just get a little vibe going and have a little chat? And it's just like Tinder. Most people are actually not going to be a match. It's the sales funnel too. See, we're back there, but it's like,
Is that from
well,
experience, Emily?
the parallels between dating as an adult and navigating the job market are my backup. My backup career is stand-up comedian, not because I think
You
it's
gotta make
funny, but
you gotta
because
make
I
a
think
blog
it's
about it.
material.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
You should
right
post it on
there.
LinkedIn. I would love to see your parallels. I would love to see your analogies. That's a good
I would love
LinkedIn
to get
topic.
roasted again on LinkedIn. One last thing I want to say about going to any conference, any networking event, and you really should. Like I was sleeping on the community here in Seattle. There's an app called Luma where there are all these meetups, many of them free, and there's a whole variety of people who go to those. And again, once they've shaken your hand, they're like, "Oh, I'll keep you in mind," or "Here, let me make an introduction." Go to them. Go to one once a week if you can. But the biggest blocker for me was belonging. So for any of these things you're going to be, I don't have, who am I to post on LinkedIn? I'm an intern. Well, I don't belong here at this conference. I'm laid off for 6 months and I'm unhireable. The biggest lesson that I learned in my time at Reddit, I think, was just I have to give myself permission and audacity to show up and belong. And that's the biggest hurdle for many folks, especially when you are not in a job, because that is a big part of your identity. And you start to feel just like Tinder. It's like, wow, I got rejected 700 times today. I am undateable. No, this market is shit. But just anyway, going back to belonging, I realized, especially in tech, I was like, man, there's a lot of audacity around here. There's these little guys they're like, I'm a founder, and they have all this money. And then it turns out they have an Instagram and a dream. They don't even have a working website, but they have audacity, and people are giving them money for some company that may not even exist. What does that have to do with you? Any of this is about giving yourself permission to belong, because other people who are less qualified than you are getting places just because they're walking into the room, not with not like you need to get cocky, but like I just realized, wow, I belong anywhere that I decide that, like wherever I am, I belong. Oh wow. So anyway, the end.
Question from the chat. So my stupid AI did not tell me who wrote this, but cold DM to recruiters.
Mhm.
So How do recruiters view cold messages? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, Emily.
Yep, and I'll give you
Um,
my advice on how to make it effective. But this is another, it depends.
mhm.
Unless you
So
want to add more
it's
to it. Yeah, go ahead. Cut you off.
no. I want this is all about you, Emily. This is your night. This is your night to shine.
Wow, see, I
um,
don't need Tinder. I have this group. This is fun.
yes, we're not worthy. Um, so so I guess what the question is like, how is it a stigma? Because that's what I'm seeing on LinkedIn. I've seen
Mm,
so many different recruiter takes on this, right? And
mm,
again, everyone, I want you to just realize there are going to be so many recruiter takes that they're going to say, well, Emily said it this way, but
mm,
then Matt Barney said it this way.
mhm.
That's okay. There is no one size that fits all. There's not one shoe that fits all. And if you can just take bits and pieces of that cake, you're going to have a big old birthday cake. So just take bits and pieces of it. Again, Emily's advice may not work 100%. My advice may not work
100%.
100%, but
Yep.
guess what? This is still advice that is valuable. So I guess what they're
Yeah.
trying to say is like how is that reviewed when you get a cold message, Emily? If I
Hmm.
message you, say, "Hey girl, I just
Mm.
applied to one of your jobs." Like how do you respond well to that? Do you be like, "Ew, yuck. Go
Mm.
away, Justin. I'm going to block you." How do you respond to that?
Yeah, so it goes back to it depends, which I love that I actually usually start with the disclaimer of like I've been a hiring manager, been a recruiter, been a candidate, but there are gaps in my knowledge. So there's stuff that I don't know. Industries, things are continuously changing. I haven't hired for every kind of role. So just take me with a grain of salt too. And if you're like, that actually is the opposite of what works for me, great. I'm glad that you have clarity and awesome. So take all the voices that you're hearing and just decide what resonates for you. You can get overwhelmed really quickly in the information age. But as far as cold DMs, this one is nuanced as well. I got a message, a cold message, very cold from from someone on LinkedIn this evening. It was like 15 minutes before I got on this chat and opened it up, and it just kind of the stars aligned, to be honest. It was like end of the day, I'm avoiding I don't want to take the garbage out, okay? So I was like, oh, what's this message? Maybe it's my dream date. No, it was a message from someone who had just applied to a role that I'm hiring for, and they had seen on LinkedIn that I was hiring for it because I posted about it. And this person said, "Hey, Emily, just following up on my application, really excited about Docker and this role, something simple." And so it was short, friendly, specific. And they were like, "Oh, just really excited about it. Like, hope we can connect soon." And I was like, what? So I fished out their application from the black hole. I pulled it out, and sure enough, thank heavens they are actually applied. So we're qualified. So I sent them a message and set up a recruiter screen with them. Yay! So sometimes it's just timing, but I would say generally it's not bad. Like recruiters are messaging candidates too. Everyone's doing it. There shouldn't be anything stopping you as long as you're nice. No skin off your nose to follow up or message any recruiter anytime ever. Just know that in my opinion, like why not? It's LinkedIn, the piazza for jobs. So with that being said, I would for effective messaging, there are a few things when we go back to why did I message this cold DM back today? Well, they were friendly, so that's great. No, wait, that sounded sarcastic. Keep it nice. What kind of messages do you like to get? What do you respond to? People call me the wrong name all the time on LinkedIn. They're just copying and pasting, but also they're like really robotic or fluffy AI sounding. Ew. Can you just like be real? I get a much better response rate when I reach out to candidates when I'm just like, "Hey, so and so, I really like your background." It doesn't need to be so formal, and then it also feels more personal and targeted to that person, making them more likely to respond. So one, make it sound like you, make it sound nice. It doesn't have to be really too casual, but there's that. The other piece is short. Okay, this is a cold message. And time is money in recruiting, literally. So I don't know you, and I don't have time to read these DMs that I get. And it's like, oh, I am not reading all this. No offense. I don't have time. I'm getting paid to talk to other people right now. So short, 2 to 3 sentences. Attach your resume with that message. I don't know why you wouldn't. Yes, your LinkedIn profile's right there, but attach your resume so that it's easy and the recruiter could add it to their applicant tracking system. And then lastly, what's the point? Why are you reaching out? Because I get a lot of like, hey, if you know of any opportunities, no, all my friends are unemployed right now. I do not. I myself, I'm in the abyss. So what this candidate did well earlier was I applied to this job, or I wanted to follow up on this application, or I'm interested in this company and I saw you're connected to Susie, profile linked here. Can you make a quick intro? Yes, the very broad, non-specific. It's like if your grandma sent you an email that was like just telling you about the weather in Tucson today, I don't know what to do with that. So tell me exactly what you need and how I can help you close the deal. Done. I see we have someone on the stage though, so I don't want to keep them waiting.
No, that's a good point.
Oh.
So two sentences, absolutely. I like to see, hey Justin, I just want to let you know I just applied. Keep it super on the point, and don't expect a reply back, right? Just be like, hey Justin, I just want to let you know I just applied to your job. Really looking forward to see, hearing back from you. And that's it. Like, don't have any expectations. They can respond to you. They may not respond to you. But like Emily said, sometimes when Emily's in her pajamas and she's watching, American Idol, and she sees you pop up with a LinkedIn message, she just said she will go into her ATS system and say, thank you for flagging me. Let me just check out this profile because I'm curious. And then that could lead to, okay, let me put that person on top of the short list. So sometimes it can work. And again, I'm all about chances, increasing your odds. So we have Krithik. Krithik, are you on the line here?
Krithik?
Hello? I know you just unmuted. You might be having my audio
I guess
issue.
you could say that they're Justin. If you know, you know. Oh.
All right. Yeah, Discord is not the best when it comes to audio integration. So Krithik, maybe you can do it in the chat or give it just 5 more seconds here. Just inaudible. I'll take it. All right. Krithik, if
following
you
up. I
raise
see
your
this
hand back
comment
again.
here. Yeah, we can. Oh yeah, we can definitely give a minute.
We'll give you a minute.
I see this
So while you're doing
comment in
that,
here.
here's another good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, someone's mentioning in the chat something that most people don't do, that most people should do, that recruiters do a lot, and that's following up. So I assume most of the first message that I get from people is like scam, spam, mass sprinkler, whatever. It's like, I'm not, okay, it's Tinder, right? It's like, I'm not special. You told everybody, hey, beautiful, in your inbox this morning. Same with LinkedIn. Most people send one message and then I never hear from them again. But the people who follow up, oh, this was real. You do think I'm beautiful. So on LinkedIn,
I will say,
as it pertains to LinkedIn, what?
I will say this though. We keep talking about Tinder, so you guys get a special insider. Tinder does work because that's actually how I met my wife. So it actually does work.
Happy for
It was
you.
so funny.
It's really
I'll give you
great.
a crazy story just because you guys are on this call. So I remember I messaged my wife and I thought she was a bot. She's from Ukraine. So the way that she responds to my messages is like very like robotic. And I'm like, are you a bot? Are you a scammer? And I banned her, or I didn't, or whatever you call it. I blocked her. I blocked her for like a year. I deleted Tinder
You reported
and
your
then got
wife?
back on Tinder.
What?
Yeah, I got back on Tinder again, and then I saw her again because I created a new account, so she was unblocked, and then I said, let me hit her up again. So I hit her up again, and I asked her another question, and she responded a little bit better this time. I said, okay, you might be real. So then we went on our date, and then I was like, oh, you are real, hey. But anyways, funny story. We keep talking
Really
about
happy for
Tinder,
you.
but hey.
That's so cool. Wow, that's really nice.
Krithik, is
I love
your audio working now,
Yes.
Krithik? You want to unmute?
Looks like you're
First of all.
muted. Yeah.
Yeah. I came into this conversation at a fascinating time. Sorry about that, Josh.
Yeah, Josh missed the thing about mimes too.
Yeah, and you forgot about I mean, Emily was going like squirrel. You forgot, you missed that out too, Josh. You missed out on a lot, Josh. It's all
It was a
because of
cult
you.
thing.
Everyone blame Josh. Everyone, chat, blame Josh. All right,
Krithik, can you
Krithik.
hear us?
No, I'm sorry. Can you do it in chat? Sorry, I want to make sure we do take advantage of Emily's time here. Next
Well, yeah,
question in
eventually I'll
chat,
lose interest.
Emily here. So this is a good one. How do you stand out in the AI application era? How do I separate myself when AI optimized applications are everywhere?
Yep, everyone, this is the question du jour, if you will. So there again, there is no like, well, the hack is, that's bullshit. The way to stand out is number one, be qualified. And I don't mean that as snarky. I mean like actually, and the only time I ended up on the LinkedIn Lunatic subreddit is because I talked about this publicly, but I'll talk about it here and then I guess do with this what you will. Is that many, if not most, applicants, people applying to jobs, are not qualified. Like, I'm talking minimum qualifications. And then there's the JK of it all, where actually the hiring manager wants somebody who's more than the minimum, but they have this like fear of missing out. So they'll often pick, like, well, here's the minimum, but ideally I'd like someone who has 5 years of experience, but we'll post for 3. One of my favorites, once I got into tech, I was like, whoa, this is weird. Amazon, for example, I only hired one SDE2 L5 software engineer who met the minimum qualifications. Everyone else far exceeded them. And this one candidate who passed that round and like got the offer had worked on large scale features on the Xbox. So we're cooked. What does that mean? It means even when you look at an application, if you're like, I'm close enough. This would be cool. Yes, aspiring or you're close or you should shoot your shot generally doesn't seem to be working as well for folks in this market. So yeah, step one, how can you stand out? You may even apply for a level down. If you're earlier career, the stats are really bad and it's not an awesome market for you. We can talk more about what to do about that later. But number one, stand out, apply if you're qualified or even a little bit overqualified. Now that I'm 42, now I might be too qualified, but that's a story for another day. Okay, so please be qualified.
You mean 24?
That would make you stand out.
24.
Yeah,
24.
24. Yeah.
You know what's
So
funny? Emily,
what?
myself, and Amir are all the same age. Can you believe that?
Oh.
Can you believe someone said I was at BlizzCon and someone said, "Oh, is Amir your dad's friend?" And I said, "No, Amir is the same age as me. What are you talking about?" It's so funny, like how the age, like people are mean too. People are really mean at conferences, but
that's why we
I
don't
want to
like to
hit
leave
on
the
that.
house. But yeah.
But no,
So,
you look
you want to stand out for
you look like you're
applications.
24, Emily. Okay.
I don't know. There's something with there must be a filter on this. Also, it's my tight ponytail. It's the only facelift I'll ever be able to afford. Anyways.
But you hit a good point. Okay. So the hallucinations. So somebody asked, Someone said in chat, it's not fair. You guys use AI to screen our resumes.
Mhm.
Why can't we use AI? And again, I think we're just beating a dead horse with this comment. It's just we don't care if you use AI. We don't. We only care if you lie on your resume. I know you're not lying, but AI, if you just do a very lazy thing and you just send your resume to ChatGPT and say, fix my resume, and you don't say anything else, and that is your only prompt, fix my resume, you are allowing ChatGPT to assume, to hallucinate, to think what's best. And again, it wants to please you. It's that golden retriever attitude. It wants to please you and say, I will make the best resume for Emily, and I will lie for Emily to make herself look good because I want to be Emily's best friend. It will lie. And so good AI resumes are, hey, ChatGPT, you give it like an essay yourself. You give ChatGPT an essay. Don't do this. No M dashes. I want you to do chronological reverse experience. I want you to put in, embellish. Like you have to tell ChatGPT like a page worth of prompts. That I'm cool with because you're not lying. So I want to make sure that you guys understand. Recruiters are not against AI resumes. Recruiters are against AI resumes that lie.
Yeah, and even being able to see, oh, it was AI generated, that's why I immediately get suspicious of the validity or accuracy of a resume, because I think, oh, they just ran this through some tool that said that they were the head of, I don't know, the world. Anyway, so that's why we get skittish about these AI generated resumes, because they're often not fact checked by the person submitting them. So there's a few things with resumes that I would really love to share with folks right now. If you're like, I think mine sucks, I don't know what's missing, and I've been reviewing resumes on the side. I'm not here to pitch that. I'm here to tell you, actually, here's my advice for free. You don't need me. Keep a standard, simple format, unless you're in a very creative field where you'd actually need to show off, hey, I'm a graphic designer and I want to have a kind of cool resume, but make sure you don't bury the plot. Name at the top, contact information, and have your LinkedIn profile. I know I mentioned LinkedIn one too many times for many of our tastes today, but there's a reason. With the number of scam and spam candidates that I'm getting from across many types of roles I'm hiring for this year, me and hiring managers I'm working with at companies of varying sizes are leaning on LinkedIn and other externally facing profiles like GitHub, if you're a software engineer, to just verify, are you even real before we reach out? So if you don't have any kind of externally facing profile linked on your resume, particularly LinkedIn, that means I have to go hunt for it to then verify if you're real before I move you forward to a recruiter screen. So my advice is add it there as a step to validate you are who you say you are. And people will lie on their resumes, but they don't tend to lie as much on their LinkedIn profile because that's public facing. So there's that. And then when we were just talking about context, details, how do you put your resume together using AI and your actual professional experience? The other thing that's missing in a lot of resumes I'm reviewing lately is if you and I were sitting at coffee and I said, what is it that you do? I can't remember. Oh, I do X for Y in ABC industry. I'm the person who makes B and C work well for 900 customers across Tennessee. Oh, these AI generated resumes really do lose the plot. As a recruiter, it's like, I don't even know what this means. So having a concise, professional summary, 1 to 2 sentences at the top of your resume, whether you're early career or really later stage, 1 foot in the grave, just, I do this for that. Okay, great. Now I know as a recruiter which lane to put you in. What bucket do you belong in? I'm a front-end software developer, proficient in TypeScript and JavaScript. I like to work on product and feature teams. Okay, versus I'm a noisemaker and a change maker, a champion and a
Disruptor.
customer service data obsessed. Yeah, like gross. Everyone's saying like I'm strategic. So I
What is
literally
that?
leave these resumes like, I don't know what you do. And then for each of your roles that you have worked in, before you go into the bullet points of what you did, one sentence summary to give me context. Because especially if you've worked at a smaller company or you were an intern, I'm like, I don't know what Holmes Health Insurance is in Irvine, Texas. Tell me. Oh, I was on the XYZ team at Irvine, an X company who does Y. My role focuses on blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Because otherwise, you're asking my eyeballs or the AI I'm using to search through and try to connect the dots and piece things together. So, just having one quick summary before diving into the bullet points to tie things together is also great. Anyway, I wanted to leave people with practical tips today and helping a recruiter leave a resume with, like, oh, I know what this person does. And as recruiters, we're often tasked with hiring for roles I want to say we have no business hiring for, but our manager will be like, Emily, I need you to hire for sales in Australia. Okay, great. I'm going to have to try to sift through these resumes for the next couple of months and try to decipher them. But a lot of resumes aren't easily translatable by the folks on the other side of your resume. Like overcomplicated
Yeah.
that. Anyway, translate your resume. If we were to sit over coffee and you were going to explain what you've done at each of your roles, use that kind of language on your resume. I'm not saying you need to throw in some "what's up, boy." I'm saying talk like a human, connect the dots, and give some context. So you wouldn't tell your
I
friend at coffee, I'm a, you know.
I saw a good tip on Reddit. You'll love this. What is a
Mhm.
good prompt you can use for your AI instructions? And you can say, please don't talk like you're a PR corporate memo. Please talk to me like you're just talking to friends who are smart over coffee. Natural language, simple sentences. Because
No M
also,
dashes, no
unfortunately,
emojis.
unfortunately, recruiters can spot the PR language out there, like the nonsense. Do you bite your thumb at me, sir? Just the nonsense theatrics of an AI language that they try to throw at you. And it's like, why are you performative right now? This is a resume. You don't need to say, I pick up trash by doing maintenance worker times 3 integrated, trash disposal, garbage, level 1. Like, just say you threw out the trash at Wendy's. That's all. Like, you don't, we can tell right away when it's performative. But Krethik did respond. Sorry about that, Emily and Justin. I have a question. It'll be long. I applied to a company about 8 months ago. In January, they responded and asked me to submit a cover letter. A week later, I was asked to record a
Oh.
video of myself. In February, I had an HR interview followed by a technical round. I believe the technical round went well. However, I was informed that I was not selected for the role. So basically, he did a lot of work, or he or she did a lot of work. I tried reaching out to HR for feedback, but I have not received any response. I would really appreciate any guidance on how to proceed and how to get constructive feedback for future improvement.
I mean, we all wish we knew what the hiring decision or lack of hinged around, and some companies have a policy against giving any feedback because it is a liability. And then also, one of the many things I loved about working at Reddit was they didn't have a policy. They did not have a policy about sharing feedback after interviews. So I was able to get very candid. And then I found out, oh, people will argue with you. They will insult you, even if you give the kindest constructive feedback, like, overall, your interviews went great, but the design round really wasn't as strong as the team was looking for. I got called names. What do you know? And so then it's like some recruiters don't do it as a practice because it can turn into an argument, which feels really bad. So and then also time because of the volume we're doing. So when you're left with like, I don't have any feedback though. Well, that's the feedback. The feedback is, especially if you can connect it to a pattern. When we go back to the funnel, it's like, well, I keep making it to this stage and then I never hear back. That's where I'd start to dig in of like, what might be blocking me from converting to the next level down in my funnel? See, we have a friend hanging out
Yeah.
here. Is it Simone?
I would say this. I would my only advice is this: always ask for the feedback, because there's been times everyone knows that you get those recruiter generated email templates that says, sorry, we selected another candidate. And that's not to say that that you deserve better. It's just sometimes the recruiters, like Emily said, you'll get 3,000 applications, and it's and also company policy where you don't respond manually. But for the companies that you can respond and you get an automated email like that, do yourself a favor, email the recruiter just one last time. This is your Hail Mary, and say, hey, I really appreciate the opportunity. Can you provide any type of feedback, and see what they say? Don't push for it. Don't get mad if they don't provide
Just
it,
a
but there
really
has been
nice, like, I
time.
loved meeting everybody. It's all in how you frame it.
Mhm.
Thanks again for the opportunity. I loved meeting everyone on the panel. Maybe you didn't, but just, hey, I really want the feedback, so I'm willing to lie to get it. I'd love to consider the Acme Corporation again in the future. Are there any signals, insights, lowlights that you can provide for me after the interview? Not expecting detailed feedback, but just anything around the decision not to move forward would be amazing. Thank you so much. We'd love to keep in touch.
Yeah,
So,
and see, at Blizzard, we had a policy where we couldn't give direct feedback from the hiring managers, but good recruiters like Ted, O, myself, other recruiters, we would, even though we couldn't tell the direct feedback from the hiring managers, we would take it a step above and be like, but you know what? I can't tell you what the hiring manager said, but I can tell you, just from a recruiter perspective, take it off my recruiter hat, you might want to work on this. You might want to get certs in this area. You might want to look into cleaning up your code. That's not the hiring manager's feedback, but that's Justin's feedback. Take it with what you want. If I may not be 100% correct because I'm not the hiring manager, but that's my feedback. And when I say that, like, people respond back so appreciative. They're like, thank you so much. I knew I wasn't going to get a hiring manager feedback, but just hearing a person's feedback, that's all I wanted. And that's sometimes what all they want to hear. It's just, I even told one person, I said, you know what? I really can't say nothing. The only thing I can recommend is get this Security Plus cert. And that was it. That was my only feedback. And this person was so appreciative. He was like, can I buy you coffee? La, la, la. Like, just one simple feedback can change someone's life,
or one swipe. It's
You
really
always
happy
go
for
back to
you.
Tinder.
Anyway,
You always go
I'm
back
sorry,
to
it's just
Tinder,
too
Emily.
funny. I haven't been on a date in almost 3 years. We have to laugh. It's so bad, it's good.
It's
I
okay.
want to
So
hear, is
do
it
they
Simone or
swipe? Do
Simone?
they
I want to
swipe?
make sure we
Do
get.
they still swipe? Do they go up and down, or they go left and right still? I forgot how they go to Tinder.
I don't know. I gave up last year, like officially. There's a story there, but anyway. Okay.
Milo said, Emily, I love this. I love this so much. Everybody wants a Tinder feedback session. I want to see your next post on this. Simone
Yes.
has a question for you,
Hello,
Emily.
friend. Thanks for hanging out.
Hi, Simone.
If the
Hi.
There you
yes,
go.
it's working.
I have to be a bit silent because it's like 4:18 a.m., so it's a bit late. But
Wow.
something that I've always asked, because I applied for a lot of jobs in the past. But one thing that I've noticed is, like, if I look at like the resume channel that we have here and like anywhere else, it's always like I feel like all the resumes look the same. And in my profession, when I first was into college and like and everything else, we always had those conversations of like, shouldn't your resume stand out? So I've always been taught that it needs to look different from everyone else so that you stand out more. How how do you guys look at that? Because like I feel like a lot of them like all look like the same, and it's like, do I need to make mine look the same too? But I'm a creative person, so I feel like I should have my own personal branding with it. But then I'm told that that's actually not how you're supposed to. Like it gets really confusing, basically. So like, yeah, I'm
You
just
don't
wondering
say.
how you
Yeah.
feel.
Great question. Yeah, great
And I
question.
thought the
Emily,
nuance
love to
too
hear.
of if you're creative, and that is kind of my one broad strokes exception on resumes, like generally, so you have to think who's going to look at my resume, and I'll get back to the creative of it all. But generally speaking, it's like actually the audience for your resume is a recruiter and a hiring manager. We are not scanning for style. We are scanning for substance. So my eyes have been trained to sweep through a resume and look for, do you qualify? Not, is this cute? The one, like, and so for it's like, how do I stand out if my resume isn't darling? Don't worry, like we're really just scanning for qualifications. Are you qualified for this role? And then the caveat here is yes, if you are applying to a creative role, you're a creative person, I would still say make sure, even if you I don't like that. If you make your resume creative and cool looking, make sure that it still follows a standard format, because even when I was hiring creative folks, particularly at Netflix, it was like, whoa, where is your name in here? Where's your contact information? Because my first instinct is to validate, who are you? Are you real? Are you qualified? Regardless of how awesome your resume looks. So I would say a balance. I think you can get more creative with like some color or a cool background, but not to get overly creative with like, I have all these bubbles and I'm scoring myself as a 4 out of 5 on speaking Persian language. Like, we still are ultimately, regardless, going to be looking for, what did you do most recently? For which company? For how long? Does it look like you were any good based on your resume? Yes, cool. I've never seen any candidate ever get disqualified because of their like resume style, unless it was so overly styled that it was unintelligible. I hope that makes sense. So it could work against you, it could work for you. Use your own good judgment. But yeah, it's great to signal that you're creative. But I do think, isn't that maybe what the portfolio is for? The resume is, I'm qualified and here's what I've done. And then the portfolio is typically where you really want to lean into all the cool things you can do. But that's my take. Ultimately, hiring is about trying to match people's experience up with the needs and the requirements of the role, regardless. So I don't know, Simone, you let me know if that makes sense or even answered the question completely. I see Vernita saying they had a hiring manager disqualify them because their lovable resume didn't have a design that showed their personality. Wow, that's wild. And I don't know, depending on the kind of role that you're applying for, maybe you do want to showcase your graphic design capabilities, but ultimately make sure that your actual qualifications don't get buried or too confused. That's a common theme that I'm seeing in the market is, I don't like the word. I've been on food stamps 3 times. I know desperate, so I'm not here to say you shouldn't be desperate. Like, it's like you shouldn't be hungry. You shouldn't thirst for water. No, like, but I want to say sometimes with resumes, people in a state of desperation are trying everything. Yeah, I don't know if Justin's gone either. I'm just here to talk
Sorry, I
to
had to feed
myself.
my cat.
Oh, okay, that's valid. Permission granted. Resumes, though, going back to, I'm seeing people kind of spin out with their resume, and they're like, maybe if I do this and you click this thing and it turns into a window, and no. One, you may be burying your actual qualifications for the role. Two, when we go back to hiring managers and recruiters are really suspicious right now. If it looks like you're hiding or disguising or exaggerating or overly decorating, I'm also suspicious because I'm thinking, well, the most qualified candidates, number one, often don't have that much time. And two, if you're qualified, you're qualified. Hiring is very mercenary, and I don't like saying some of these things out loud, but them's the breaks. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. I do see stuff in the chat about ATS compliance.
Yeah,
So,
I just want to say real quick to Simone's question.
Mm.
And by the way, my cat loves to eat late at night. He knows I'm a gamer, so he knows I stay up till like 2:00 in the morning. So he knows he gets treats late at night. But to Simone's question about regarding how do you what was her what was her question again? I'm sorry.
Wait, whose question? I was in the chat
Simone.
because I see. Okay. Well, Simone's question was around creative
Luke
resume.
Luke confused me.
Got thrown off. Yeah, I think we addressed it, but then it's kind of turning into, well, hiring bias. I would love to talk about this, and then at some
Yeah, there
point
you
I'm
go.
going to go get a
Let's
little
talk
snack.
about
But
hiring bias.
this is a good pivot too, because there, I did drop a little explosive there of like, well, in the minds of hiring managers that I've worked with
I
for
remember.
years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so real quick, about resumes. Yes, in creative, I would say that's the only profession I would say that you can go crazy in being creative with your resume. But standard industry and recruiters love black and white Harvard and Yale reverse chronological resume. It is boring. Simone mentioned that. She said it's a boring resume. Everyone always suggests the boring resume.
It's like two
the reason
punches
why
to the
it's boring
face.
and it's great because first of all, it works well with every single ATS tracker. You got to keep in mind every resume system. There's been systems out there since 1990, and there's systems out there like new ones like Ashby and Rippling that are newer, but not every resume system can retain tables, margins, all these funky nuances that AI resumes love to do. AI resumes love to do the 2-column with your photo, with all these fancy colors. That's another reason how we can tell that you use an AI generator is when they do those crazy templates. But all the good recruiters suggest the black and white, reverse chronological Harvard and Yale resumes you can find free online because it's this industry standard and it works well with every resume tracker. The other thing is too, it's not about making yourself pretty, putting on lipstick, getting ready on your Tinder date, right? It's not about that on your resume. Your resume's meat and potato is your experience. I don't care if you have red font, green font, blue font. I'm going to go straight to, do you qualify? Do you have the 5 years experience I'm looking for? Do you have this keyword? So again, you may think as a non-recruiter that you need to make your resume as pretty as possible in order to attract a recruiter. I don't know why we keep going back to Tinder, but that's
Because
not the
it's
case.
funny. It's so, and it's relevant. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, also,
all right, so go back to
this
your
also
topic.
brings up
Sorry to
like
interrupt.
no, it's all related, and that actually goes back to, well, Justin might not reject a resume because he's willing to take the time to maybe pick through some cool bubbles and tables, and it showed up weird on my end, but I'm still going to look through it. And then I might not that day, not that time. I need to go feed my cat or take my kid to ice skating lessons or whatever it is. And or a hiring manager, they review resumes too sometimes. I had one role with Docker that actually had 3 openings tied to it, and the hiring manager kept reviewing resumes and then giving me feedback on who he wanted me to talk to. He was faster than me, but just know that hiring managers are looking at resumes as well, and we're looking for, and especially them, they're like, do they qualify? But I did want to talk about bias because that, and then we can get to our friend here. So really quickly, because I feel like, yes, I dropped some of my bias, which is hiring managers, when we were talking about resumes, they have this idea, which is such oh shit. But they often do, not all of them. Oh, well, if you're top talent, why are you looking? If you're top talent, why are you open to work? Well, how come you're not snatched up by now? And I have faced this too, of like, Emily, why are you still single? Or what? What do you mean you're still single? And so we see this in the job market too. It's the same, okay? I can't make this up. This is just how it is. Because it's the scarcity bias, it's the, well, who else is competing for this diamond, and that drives up the perceived value. It's the same in the job market. Just keep this in
I gotta
mind.
say, I hate
There,
when people say that when they're like, "Why are you still single?" Like I think so.
I know.
Most people knows this about me, but I just recently got married like 3 years ago. Okay, but I've been single for a long time, right? And so I get that a lot. It's like, why are you still single? I hate that question. Like because I'm looking for my perfect queen. How about that? Okay, leave me
Oh,
alone.
that's nice. For me, just eye contact is difficult. So that's not going for me. Anyway, but okay, when it
But
comes to the job market though, thinking about bias, it does exist. And so if you start to over-engineer your resume, that can indicate to a hiring manager, wow, they're really, this is not good. I don't like it, but this bias does exist about the top talent. And it's often the people we end up hiring that are really qualified may have been not even actively looking and don't have time for a good resume. So it's just like that standard format, not even adding in a lot of details. It's not fair. I don't like it. But when we talk about bias, these people on LinkedIn that are like, I love the green banner. I'm a recruiter and I don't care. Everyone has bias. I'm not saying everyone has bias against the open to work banner, but there is unconscious bias that we have and that I've heard hiring managers have. And I have been questioned several times in the last year by hiring managers because I'm like, I don't give a shit if you're open to work. That's great. You're going to respond to my message. So maybe I don't have that bias. Maybe Justin does. But I know hiring managers that I've worked with not liking it. Just going to tell you,
oh yeah,
well, Emily, why is this person still looking?
why is this
Oh
person
my
still
God, I
looking?
got to an
Why
offer
is there
with a
gaps?
candidate last year. One of
Yeah.
the last people I hired, you're welcome, Reddit, before I got laid off. So suddenly was, I got all the way to the offer. Like this candidate had passed everything. The hiring manager went and looked at their LinkedIn profile and he was like, hey, did you know they're open to work? Yeah,
It
I do have eyes to see.
see I hope chat appreciates this real raw feedback that Emily's giving because you don't
Yeah, I
see that
don't
on
like this.
LinkedIn.
I'm just telling
You
you.
don't see that on
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
and
So Emily is spitting the truth here. There are
I'm
hiring
getting sweaty.
managers, and most of them are millennials and are boomers and are Gen X's,
Mm-hmm.
and they're old
Mm-hmm.
school, right? I'm a millennial. I'll admit there's a lot of old school there mentality, and they will say, I don't want to hire this person because this person is out of work. They got laid off. If they were that good, they would get hired. Honest to God truth.
Yeah.
That's what hiring managers say.
Yep.
That's what Emily's
Mm-hmm.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
I don't like
You
it.
may not see
I'm
that on
awesome,
LinkedIn, but we're telling
but I'm not.
you the
Yep.
truth. There are a lot
I think
of
you
and
should
Gen X's.
always
That's
try for
absolutely
yourself.
right, Robert. That's stupid. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is
And
absolutely
also, you
right.
should try it for yourself. So if
It's
you have an open to work banner on for 6 months and it didn't impact your results, you should A/B test it. Because for some people in some industries, they put on their open to
our
work banner
hiring
and
managers
boom, their
idiots.
inbox is
Yeah,
flooded.
Tyler.
Yep.
Hiring
Oh,
managers
yeah.
can
Well,
be idiots. They can be, but not my hiring managers and not
sometimes
Emily hiring managers. But yeah, there are a lot of hiring managers.
not mine. No,
Ohas,
sometimes
I
we have to coach
apologize.
them. Yes, hello,
Ohas,
friend.
can
Come
you
on and chat.
hello.
Hi, Emily and Justin.
Hello. Thanks for
Hello.
waiting.
Of course. I had a question specifically about entry-level positions.
Hmm.
What can new and recent grads do to stand out, especially when we're applying to positions that mid-level designers are applying to because of just how the game market is?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, I have a Google Doc. Um, of ideas for new grads. This is so dorky, but I'm gonna pull it up. So these are my notes as I'm compiling it and like looking at the market. Because
You can share your
first I just
screen.
want
You
to
can
say,
share your
hey,
screen.
this is no, no,
There's
but
a
it's
there's
just
a button that
really
says share
raw
screen.
brain dump. Yeah, I bet there is. Okay, because I am a fucking nerd for the hiring industry, the machine. And so I'm putting pieces together and I want to validate, set the scene. If you look at the information that's coming out, this is the worst market for new and recent grads. So if you're like, what can I do to stand out and why is it so hard for me and everyone? Well, there's a mismatch in the market right now with what the market wants to hire and will hire and the talent that's available. And statistically speaking, new and recent grads have it the hardest. So one, I want to start there and say, yep. So just set the stage of there are many recent grads who are now just making really hard choices of like, I got a master's in computer science and now I need to actually just make some money. So I'm going to go work in the shoe department at Nordstrom part-time. Those are practical realities that people are facing. So I would say step one is I got a bachelor's degree in 2006 and then slid into the Great Recession. And I remember working at the Gap. I don't know if that's people shop there anymore, but I remember working part-time sales at the Gap after I had my degree and feeling so ashamed because we were sliding into the other Great Recession. And like, I have my degree and I can't get a job, and I'm still selling credit cards to strangers in a mall. And I thought I was supposed to have a job by now. And I spent years in retail sales after graduating college, and you don't see this on my resume, just making money. That's okay. Just enough to make rent. And then eventually things caught on. But you might be in a season and in a market where you have to just make practical decisions. But then as far as my Google Doc, so another thing I want to say, step one, if you need any kind of immigration sponsorship, generally speaking, when folks reach out to me and they're like, help me with my resume so it can stand out, but I'm on an F1 OPT STEM visa, many companies aren't sponsoring immigration support. Wait, I said that weird. But anyway, it's like any kind of immigration support, and the H-1B system's a lottery. So I don't know if that's your situation, but that's another big blocker where like I can't help your resume be so good that a company is willing to gamble on the H-1B lottery and pay all the fees and the uncertainty. So that's another thing to consider. And then as far as actual other real stuff, though, built-in as a website, if you haven't tried that, well-found. Wait, I'm going to put this in the chat. So just so you have this list here.
I was just gonna say people are asking if you can drop it in chat.
Yes, it's not like this is so great. It's not going to change your life.
It is great.
These are just a few.
Don't let Emily humble you here. She is one of the great stuff. She has over 200,000 followers. She Reddit,
That
Amazon,
is a story in itself.
Netflix.
I went
She
accidentally
is a
viral.
model on the America's Next Top Model. She is wonderful.
Yeah.
She will always say hi to you at all the events. So
I just can't
don't
make
let her
eye
fool you.
contact. So
She is one of the
well, that
like take
I
advantage
have
of
figured
this.
out how to keep going. So, and it's just practical stuff. Like these are a few sites that people that I know who are navigating the market have found success with. So I'll put those in the chat. And if you're on somewhere like one of these sites looking for
Where's your
if
Google
you're
Doc?
early
They're asking
career.
for your Google Doc.
No, this is the Google Doc. It's like such a shitty brain dump. I'm just throwing things in there, but searching for emerging talent roles. So you're like, I'm
We'll
in.
follow
Well,
Emily
so
for those who don't follow Emily, and I'll drop her LinkedIn here. Sorry, Vernita. I apologize.
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
Vernita,
Yeah,
my
no.
goodness. Hello. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm a recruiter looking for a recruiter position. I've worked for some well-known companies. I actually have two questions. One, I just want to get like an overall census of people's experience, because I've been experiencing where they're asking for very specific strategy. Like they want to know how I source, what tools I'm using, what keywords I'm using. I'm hopping on and doing a live sourcing session with hiring managers, and I feel used. And so I'm trying to figure out, is this like a norm now in the market, or is it not a norm and it's very selective and it's like a predatory type interviewing technique? And then my other question is, I've been doing a lot of sourcing, but I do have full cycle recruiting experience. And I feel as though I am out of date in regards to some of the interview questions I'm being asked. Because today, for instance, I had an interview and they asked me about, tell me about how you use the data in order to find out whether or not your funnel of candidates is healthy. And so I started saying, I reach out to this many passive candidates and went on, when I'm thinking data, I'm thinking numbers. But this person wanted to know, no, if you're not getting people to offer, are you looking at, are you looking at top priority roles, or are you looking at stuff like that? So my second question is, what are some of the questions that I should be looking at from a full cycle recruiting perspective versus a sourcer perspective? Sorry.
Yeah. Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different questions. Great questions, by the way, too, as well. Thank you for those questions.
Thank you.
So the first question is, what are we seeing right now, Emily? What are we seeing right now as far as
and I can tell
the
you from here in these
competition?
streets.
There you go. There you go.
So
All right.
employers can ask for more than they used to in the past. And also with the scammers out there, it's like, hey, this is a great way, and people are willing to do it. So young children, pull up a chair to my rocking chair here, grandma speaking. So when in better times, when the market was skewed in favor of candidates, they were like, I'm not doing your fucking take home exercise. And then employers are like, you're right. Okay, we're sorry. Please come back and interview with us. Right now, they can kind of call all the shots, have a higher bar, give you take home exercises, make you run through hoops. There is a risk, Vernita, yes, that they might be stealing your amazing ideas and using them for free. And it's like, or yeah, there could be a scam or spam element in it, and that is super sucky. And I think it would be hard to know how people are going to use your amazing strategy or Google Doc that you leave them with. So that might happen, but I would say generally speaking, if you want validation here, there is a trend of asking for more interviews, more take-home exercises, because one, we're trying to validate, are you real and could you actually do the job? And then two, I think it's just partly like employers, it's like no skin off their nose, like, hey, come back after you've done this take-home exercise for a week, we'll thumb through it and see if we like it, because they can. They wanted to do that a few years ago, but they couldn't. And now that does help them get better signal on candidates, but also, not everyone's going to follow through with those exercises. So it's another way to kind of weed people out. But that's my thought on question one is like, yeah, it's becoming more common.
So real quick on my end, lay of the land has changed. And I'll give you the perfect example. When I interviewed at Blizzard, yes, Blizzard Entertainment, it was literally 2 virtual round interviews. And I didn't even study for it. I didn't even do like my homework on that. Like I just said, I think I had sweatpants on too, to be honest. And my interviewers, one person had blue hair and was just hanging out in his garage, and then the vice president was supposed to interview me but couldn't make it, and then so I had another recruiter interview me, and they were like, "Oh, I'm supposed to interview you. You weren't on my schedule, and I got the job." Now I'm hearing everything that you're saying, Bernita. Now I'm hearing they want to do code exercises. Now I want to hear whiteboard exercises. Now I'm hearing mock sourcing techniques, Boolean techniques. And here's the real reason why. 5 years ago, the competition is not like what it is now. We didn't have that many layoffs. Now, because there's so many layoffs and no one is safe, the government laid off people, retail laid off people, hospitality laid off people, medical laid off people, legal laid off people, gaming laid off people. Well, guess what? there's so much competition. There's so many clones out there that now they're like, okay, how do I deal with 5,000 plus resumes? It wasn't like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, honestly, there was probably only 40 candidates who applied to that job that I got, honestly. And that was Blizzard, right? Now, 5,000 easily, just within 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, you got 5,000 resumes. So what the hiring managers are doing, and there's no fault to them, right? They are going to say, okay, we're going to go ahead and add layers now. We're going to add layers. We're going to add tests. We're going to get the best of the best because now we can be picky. And they have every right to be picky. So someone said this on LinkedIn, and it makes perfect sense. It's just like the real estate market. There's a buyer's and seller's market. There's always going to be a buyer's and seller's market. Is it a buyer's market? Is it that when you buy a house, you are in control because there's not many people selling? Or is it a seller's market? Is it because there's so many people trying to sell that, you know, that logic applies to when right now there is a lot of competition. And I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're an anti-cheat engineer. I don't care if you're a PhD with 5, MBAs. Like, we don't care. Honestly, recruiters don't care. We want the best of the best. And hiring managers are going to give you those, unfortunately, those fluff techniques. So half of it is true, what Emily said. There may be scammers. And the other half is hiring managers get to be picky. That's the unfortunate reality. I'm giving it to you raw. Don't hate me. Don't hate the recruiter. But that's just how it is. It's just they're going to go ahead and make you jump through hoops because now they can be with their fancy hat and they're sitting on their king and queen chair, and they can pick out. Oh, let me pick out the top 3 out of these 5,000 resumes. That, unfortunately, that's the reality.
Yep, and it becomes very us versus them, and I think even perpetuates this ego cycle. To get very psychological about it for a second, it's like the more they're picky, I don't know. There's just something there. And I don't even like the term job seekers anymore. Look, I'm getting itchy thinking about it. Gross. Because it's so othering. It's like, aren't we all job seekers? I don't care if you have a job. We should probably all be looking all the time.
All the
Which is
time, even
exhausting.
if
I'm
you
not
have a
saying it's
job.
easy, but anyway. Well, I'm sure we could be here all
What was
day.
Vanita's second question? Do you remember Vanita's second question?
Yeah, it was about full life cycle recruiting.
Oh yeah,
and
recruiters versus sourcers. It is a big difference. And I'll say this real quick, and I'll let you speak, Emily. There is a big difference between recruiters and sourcers. Sourcers are your Booleans, Boolean grunts. They just do all the leads. They hunt for the leads.
What?
And
This
recruiters
is going to
are
be our
more
first argument.
people orientated. Well, it can be. Again, not one size fits all. Because usually I have about 2 to 3 sourcers on my team. I have 2 to 3 sourcers and 1 recruiter or 1 coordinator. And a sourcer would feed me leads. That's all they would do. They would just feed me leads. And I'm the closer. So a recruiter is a closer, in my opinion. Emily could have a different opinion. I don't hate on if she does. But what I've been doing is I've been closing. And so when hiring managers are asking, do you have those? You asked a very specific question. You said, I answered that question what I thought was my best answer, but they were looking for people skills. They were looking to see if you were a closer. They were looking to see if you can handle counter offers, if you can talk to hiring managers. How do you communicate with executive leadership? How do you communicate with, is this something we need right now? Like, you're the subject matter expert. Like, you're above, you're right on the same level as a hiring manager, and they expect you to be a subject matter expert and say, I think we should do this. And they're looking for advice. That's a recruiter.
Like
And I'll leave it
sophisticated.
to you, Emily.
Yes. So I think it depends on the company. Like, for example, the role I was hired into at Netflix was technically sourcing focused, aka really trying to find the talent. And then once I brought them into the process, handing them off to the recruiter, but it was a specialized, elevated position that wasn't like, hey, can you just throw some keywords in a machine? It was like, we need you to do things like talent mapping and pipeline building and establish a presence and help us build out our social media for Netflix games. It was like a thing. I'm not saying that to brag. It was more like, well, in that role at that company, it was sophisticated. And actually at Amazon, I started as a sourcing recruiter, but there it was seen as, oh, this is where you start at the bottom, and the recruiter is the real recruiter, but you're a recruiter too, just not like a grown-up recruiter. Fine. So yeah, typically tech will often split this up, as I'm sure you know, Vernita. Where I'm at right now, Docker, they are truly full cycle. So I'm a recruiter who does all the sourcing, all the way through the full process. Thoughts and prayers, please. I still think on your resume, if you want advice there, having like full life cycle experience with an emphasis on sourcing is great and keeps some options open. But if you want to put in the chat if there was anything else you wanted to yap about as far as getting hired as a recruiter in the year of our Lord 2026, let me know. I'm actually seeing the most effective thing is what I actually made a friend test, and any of us can replicate this. So I'm maybe a really nice or a really mean friend. So for my friend Chris, he's a recruiter and he's been bounced around a lot, like laid off multiple times, contracts ended suddenly in recruiting, just really been through it. And so I was like, Chris, you need to lay tracks. You need to like file an LLC and go prospect for recruiting clients. Why not? Like, what's stopping you from going and finding a contract recruiting role or pitching yourself to a company and they could be your client? And he did. He was like, yeah, I signed up for Apollo. I found like you can do quick research on ChatGPT or whatever your AI pleasure is, and like, oh wow, these are Series A startups in the Seattle, Washington area. You can look up the founder's contact information and send them a quick message. Hey, would love to help you build out your new business. I do X, Y, and Z. Here's my Calendly if you want to chat. You're like, oh my God, an angel just fell to me from heaven. Someone's going to help me with hiring, which I'm not good at and could get sued if I do it wrong. So I think I'm gonna I'm gonna have to get a snack soon. But if you take one thing away today, it's gonna be grab a shovel, because there's nothing that's stopping us in recruiting or anywhere else from. It cost me $200 to file an LLC in Washington State, and then it was like, well, I can. And as a recent grad, it's like you could pitch yourself out there for projects. Just make sure you
Yeah,
have the right paperwork so that you could
consultant.
actually
That's
be a
another big
business and
thing.
bill clients. Yeah,
Yeah.
with recruiters, you could say, hey, my rate is
Grab your
$100
shovel
an
and
hour.
join Tinder are the two things that Emily wants you to take away from this.
No, do not, because I am proof. There's the last date that I went on
We're
3
gonna
years
make
ago.
a recruiter Tinder. How about that? We'll do that.
Mm,
So Vernita and Emily, I do want to make it very clear,
mhm,
okay?
mhm,
I'm not trying to
mhm.
hurt your feelings by saying that, oh, sourcing is the lowest, but I did spot
It's
out what
often
Vernita
seen
was
as less sophisticated.
I
Yes.
did spot out what Vernita was trying to say. It is
Mm,
I just want to give her the honest answer. And
mm,
I hope you don't mind I'm using that pronoun her and she.
mm,
But um Vernita, what I think they were trying to do
mm.
was just trying to see what your people and communication skills is. And so a recruiter is generally known to be the communicator between executive leadership and hiring managers. And they just want to see your communication style. So you have to emphasize if you want to stand out and you want to get recruiter roles and you don't want to just be seen as a sourcer, that's how you stand out. Is I communicate with my hiring managers on a weekly cadence. I do team messages. I do set up weekly cadences, and I check in with messages, on the fly. They want to see, are you a subject matter expert or are you just a Boolean searcher?
Are you
And
taking
again,
orders
it's no
versus
hate. Yeah, it's no hate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to downplay that. I'm not. I'm just telling you how it is. Like, Booz Allen, Microsoft, I had 2 sourcers, and that's exactly what they did for me. They just Boolean searched, and I was the one talking to the CFOs. I was the one talking to the CEOs. They were looking at me saying, "Justin, why are we not getting the applicants?" So you have to look at it from that optics and say, "You know what? I am more than just a Boolean searcher. I can provide optics on why we're not getting a lot of applicants, and maybe it's tweaking the job
Make
description."
recommendations or
Yes.
applying judgment, because now sourcing, some of it is getting replaced by AI tools, for better or
AI
for
a
worse.
lot.
I'm working with
Yeah.
some, but I've set up bots to go do sourcing for me now, and then I have to use my judgment. So sourcing focused or full life cycle or not, I would say make sure that you inject your interviews and even your resume showing judgment calls, sophistication, expertise, ownership. Um, if you want to stand out versus, yeah, just like I just did the thing that was handed to me. So anyway,
Okay, another good question that came up, and again, I don't know who said this, so I apologize. Cover letters in 2026, are they still worth writing for? Ooh.
it's like the open to work banner. I don't know. Does it work in your industry? Are you applying for a legal job? Because yeah, lawyers actually look for cover letters. They're like old school formality. Ask me how I know. Oh, I'm hiring for a legal role at Docker right now, and I'm like, oh, you're wearing a suit for this Zoom meeting? Okay. So it truly, truly depends. I will say, at this point, decades of hiring experience, I've never seen a candidate who applied or was sourced be moved forward or hired or any of those things because of a cover letter. I've just literally never seen. It's like I've never seen a hiring manager click see more on the about section on LinkedIn. That's a great place to bury your secrets because no one's going to click see more. They're all scrolling the feed. So my take is I've never seen it make or break. Like, this cover letter really changed my mind. Actually, they are qualified to be a medical doctor. However, in my opinion, using a quick professional summary to help tell the story or connect the dots, that can get seen. Weirdly enough, when I thought I wanted to go back to like regular corporate in August after layoff, I applied for jobs and I was like, what? Some of these companies still have cover letter as a required field. But then insider knowledge, what's weird is in the applicant tracking system, the cover letter sits because you know how you submit it separately? So it's like, please upload your resume, please upload your cover letter, and it's 2 different things. And so as a recruiter, when I'm reviewing applications, I see the resume. The cover letter is like often a little tab or a separate section that I'd have to intentionally click on. I don't need to hear what someone says about themselves on their cover letter. Time is money. Recruiting is a game of speed. The resume is going to prove to me what they've done, where, for who, and how long. So I'm wary of what someone says about themselves versus what it's proven that they've done. So I'm not saying it's a waste of time, and there may be certain cases or professions where that's even expected. But personally, from 9 years of nonprofit hiring, healthcare, now tech, corporate roles, I've never seen a hiring why, yes, this is an excellent cover letter. Like it always goes back to, oh yeah, he has the experience that we need. Let's move him forward. So um, that's my hot take. Justin, I am gonna have to go soon because my stomach is audibly growling. So
Yeah, no,
I'm
no,
happy
and
to take the last couple questions.
we're just at the tail end,
Mm,
and I will say this because we have a lot. This is a gaming Discord
mm,
community,
mhm.
and you might be surprised, Emily, too, as well. In the gaming industry world, and don't hate me on this, everyone. Hiring
We hate
managers,
you.
they hate me. They hate me. Hiring managers, and Luke, I know you're here too. They do want to see cover letters. I
Really?
personally don't like cover letters.
Okay.
Like you said, like you said, there's 2 spots. I only look at the resume. If you qualify, you qualify. That's all I care about. But I have sent submissions over to hiring managers, and they always say, and this may be a gaming in Riot and in Blizzard, at Riot Games and
Gaming
at
and
Blizzard.
legal. I don't know.
They
It's different.
are just curious. I think they're nerdy too. They're geeky. They're just like, I'm curious to see what their cover letter says. They want to see that nepotism. They want to see that nepotism. They want to see that pretentious.
Oh my God, I hate hiring
I
sometimes.
love Riot
So
Games. I
gross.
play League
Circle
of
jerk.
Legends. They
It's
want
my
to. They
dream
want
to
to see
work
that.
here for you.
Yeah,
Ew.
yes.
You're right, though. The thing
Unfortunately,
is, it's like, yep, it's like, tell me about why you're interested in the Acme Corporation in the interviews. And they want to hear you say, like, oh, I
yeah.
just love the company's
I love the yep.
values, and this role really sparked something deep inside of me. Just can't wait to bring innovation to your company. So gross, but it's true. They are looking, but companies, it's not all nefarious. They're looking for, would you be a good long-term fit? Are you excited about our company
Are
in
you
particular?
passionate?
You're going to build out the role. You're going to have a high sense of ownership. And then it's hard to screen for internal motivators. What's going to keep somebody going when this gets hard? So if you can give signals proactively, whether it is a cover letter or in an initial screen with a recruiter of like, I'm specifically interested in this role and company, amazing, because hiring managers especially, I tell all my candidates that I screen at Docker, hey, it's not for me, but I'm just letting you know for the next round with the hiring manager, highly recommend you come prepared with specifics. So.
Well, everyone, sorry we didn't get to all the questions. This has been jam-packed all night.
No, my anxiety was off the
fluctuated
charts.
from 30 to 60 to 40. Emily, you have been amazing. I hope everyone can take advantage of this. This has been recorded. I'm going to drop Emily's LinkedIn in chat. Please follow her.
This was recorded. Great. Yes, I may.
Yep, we got.
Yep.
So I'll let you finish, but follow Emily. She is very friendly. She has funny memes that she posts on LinkedIn. Emily, do you have any final words of the night? And then I'll wrap it up to where we can go after hours if you guys want to continue this conversation via voice chat.
Wow, you guys have fun. I'm gonna go have a snack and then just socialize for a while. That sounds exciting, though. Yeah, I think I'm not selling anything. I had considered doing like career coaching. I do that for friends sometimes. I'm not doing anything like live or one-on-one right now because I'm in the pit. I'm helping companies with hiring on the daily. But you're more than welcome. I just actually weird, deleted some connections on LinkedIn that weren't serving me anymore. So I have room for new ones. So if you request to connect with me, just a very quick message to say that you're from here. And yay, we're connected for future. I always like to keep my eye out if I see roles that are fit for folks. I may not be able to respond to DMs because I get this a lot right now, which I completely understand. So I just want to be honest with like, you're welcome to follow me. I'll even would love to connect with you. I may not be able to help you live because, as I mentioned, all of my friends and myself are suffering too. But I try to share any kind of insights I can about how hiring is happening out on LinkedIn. And if I end up doing one-on-one stuff, I'll let you know. I hope that was helpful and appreciate that we had a nice, candid space here. And for all of you being so funny. This reminded me of Reddit. My first day at Reddit, I got on an all hands, and there was an eggplant emoji on the presentation. It's virtual, and I was like, "Where have I landed? It's awesome!" And so like even company like Slack, there's always funny memes and stuff. And so I just being here in this chat, I was like, "Yes, this is what I've missed.
That's
This was
like
the best at
sexual
working at
harassment.
Reddit."
What the heck?
I mean, they were talking about unsafe and inappropriate content on Reddit and like what's the line and what they do about it and what's automated, what's not. It's very interesting. But yeah, so I love this vibe here. I'm down to hang out again, but thank you all for your time. And
what is your last motivational, inspirational quote that you want to give everyone before you leave?
Yeah. Wow. One of my favorites, and I can't remember who to attribute this to, so it's worth a Google search, but it's You cannot always do everything at once, but you can always do something at once. So I realize in this market, it's like, oh my God, I can't even like, right. But there is something that you can do today. So as long as you're moving forward, you have to just keep moving forward. Some kind of tangible, meaningful actions. Also get online or get offline. Don't be on chronically online. Really, you're going to get a huge payoff from going to in-person professional meetups or networking events. Virtual, this is great. It's been a pleasure. And like in person, you don't get the memes. But here, you're going to see a huge return on investment, even if it's just practicing. When you're making conversation in those networking settings, that's great practice for an interview, because even I will trip over, how do I introduce myself? Wow, I really screwed that up. Okay, great, got that out of the way. Next time I'm in an interview, I'll do it better. So anyway, get offline, get out there, and then just keep taking actions forward, because like it may not get better. It may actually get worse. But the relationships that we're cultivating, we are going to form that camper van that we can do a dishes, like who's going to cook rotation at night when we circle up our camper vans over a campfire. It's the people I think that we're taking care of and who are taking care of us that are going to get us through this. So,
Love it. Love it. Chat
okay.
loves it. Chat loves you, Emily. Thank you so
I love
much.
the
This
chat
has been
pack. What a
amazing.
nice community.
Everyone, just give a round of applause to Emily. She is
Oh,
a
thank
rock
you. This has been a
star, a
wonderful,
legend in this world.
wonderful chat.
Follow
Wow.
her, and let's
Still single.
see everyone at the Open the Network voice channel here soon. Thank you guys for everyone.
Okay, all
Thank you
right.
guys. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.